Northern Edition. I'm Raven Davis.
I'm Shane Stubbs.
Thank you so much for tuning in. The Bahamas Tonight is coming your way next.
Coming up in the Bahamas tonight at 11, the government opens itself to public scrutiny with the release of a suite of energy reform agreements. Plus, prison population shifts. We have the details of how and why. And innovations and strategies to collectively strengthen defense against the multi-billion-dollar cybercrime empire. The Bahamas Tonight at 11 starts now.
The Bahamas Tonight at 11, the final word starts now.
Good night, everyone. I'm Akush Lapender filling in for Corvell Pyfram. Tonight, we begin with the Davis administration opening the books on its energy reform program, releasing over 3,000 pages of commercial agreements governing the Bahamas Grid Company and the country's electricity modernization efforts. The government maintains the disclosure consolidates agreements already presented to Parliament and expands public access to the full commercial package. Aldaviz Munnings has been following the story.
The energy document bundle starts off with the 145-page power purchase agreement for Central Andros, signed between Andros Renewable Energy and Bahamas Power and Light Companies Limited this past Monday at the Office of the Prime Minister. It specifies the project's development, transmission system arrangements, defaults and remedies, and exhibits displaying required permits, contract prices, and technical specifications. Details of the government's heads of agreement signed with the Bahamas Grid Company and Island Grid Solutions on June 3, 2024 to manage and transform power transmission and distribution on the Providence was also displayed, and the goal there is to ease energy costs for residents. There's also 81 pages of its transmission and distribution network with installation dates far as back as 1989. Agreements signed between BPL and EA Energy, CVB Utility Company, Renugen Pro Limited, Exuma Energy Renewable Corporation, Madeline Solar Power Limited, and Family Island Microgrid Bahamas. Now, the power agreements, some more than 100 pages long, entail power upgrades for New Providence, Cat Island, Exuma, Andros, Harbor Island, Black Point, and Staniel Key, as well as Little Farmer Keys in Exuma, Bimini, San Salvador, Cat Island, and Long Island. By releasing the full 3,260 pages of agreements, the government affirms that major national undertakings must be subject to public scrutiny. Transparency strengthens confidence, and confidence strengthens reform. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Altaviz Munnings.
We're also hearing more tonight about the National Development Plan for the Bahamas and its potential impact. Lloyd Allen tells us more.
A comprehensive plan to steer national economic development, but what does it mean for the Bahamas? Well, based on Vision 2040, a draft outlining how the efforts by stakeholders will come together by 2040 will allow various ministries, along with legislative integration, to play a pivotal role in Phase 1. As with other Latin American countries like Jamaica, the NDP is a targeted effort to improve economic performance and ratings. IDB Representative Shirley Gale says the advancement is not an overnight fix.
This is not something that is achieved in months, right? It takes years. And so this is a long game. It is very unusual, and it is no easy feat to bring such high-level members of the government, of the political directorate, of the public administration together. And I believe that it signals the sense of unity in commitment that is behind this national development planning process.
Future consultation will allow the wider public to contribute to the initiative. Steering Committee Chairman Felix Stubbs admits enhancements to the draft will make introduction more effective.
We had a meeting with the AG on Monday, and he pointed out some things to us that, I guess, opened my eyes a bit in terms of how you go about creating bills. The general consensus that the bill is a little bit weak and that we could strengthen it. And so we're taking those comments seriously. We're going to be doing some work over the next 2 weeks.
Bringing policymakers together is a key benefit of this transformative national plan, which Stubbs says requires a long-term perspective.
If we want to create an environment where all of our children and our grandchildren are able to meet their full potential, we have to plan for that. We have to plan to create an environment where everybody has a chance to succeed. Some of the countries we compared ourselves to, and we went back to 1972, many of those countries were almost equivalent to or less than we were. Over the course of the last 30, 50 years, they've all surpassed us. And the only commonality between them and us is that they had national development plans and we didn't.
As public consultation has been ongoing, the goal is to allow Bahamians at all levels to contribute to the initiative in the coming weeks. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Lloyd Allen.
In political news, the Free National Movement's deputy leader, Shannon Cartwright, along with other F&M candidates, gathered on the steps of the Parliamentary Registration Department this morning to bring attention to what they say are ongoing issues that may impact the integrity and fairness of the upcoming general election. Cartwright highlighting a wide range of concerns that he insists be addressed immediately, including duplicate voter entries, people not being properly transferred from one constituency to the next, deceased people still showing up on the register, and first-time voters being turned away due to their passport expiring this year.
We reject that notion. We are here to represent the interests of all of the people we hope to represent, and broadly the Bahamian people. At the end of the day, this falls in the line with transparency and ensuring that we are agitating on behalf of the Bahamian people.
The Parliamentary Registration Department sought to clarify that applicants presenting a passport that has recently expired or is nearly expired are also processed. That, of course, once the passport has not been cancelled. It went further to point out that claims suggesting otherwise are incorrect. Parliamentary registration officials also at the time stressed that if any applicant claims they were turned away from any registration center for any reason, they should as soon as possible report the issue to the department. From politics, we turn to crime following this morning's brazen shooting of a man here in the capital. For the details, we turn to our Leah Cooper.
Gunfire shattered the routine of an otherwise normal day after a man was shot and killed in broad daylight just after 9 o'clock Thursday morning at the Shirley Street Shopping Plaza.
Our preliminary investigation revealed thus far is that a male in his late 30s exited a business establishment in the shopping plaza. He approached his vehicle when a small, dark Japanese vehicle pulled up. A male exited that vehicle, produced a firearm, and fired shots in the direction of the deceased, fatally wounding him.
That's Police Press Liaison Officer Chief Superintendent Sharia King, who was unable to tell reporters whether this was a targeted incident or if the victim was known to police.
An autopsy has to be done where the next of kin has to officially identify the deceased, so we cannot provide that information at this time.
Any leads on the suspect? Is the deceased known to police?
Again, we're in our preliminary stages of an investigation, and so, as I said, officers are still trying to get information. This matter happened about 2 hours ago, so we'd need some more time to provide that information to you.
Now, we understand the victim was in the gym moments before his death. A gym employee described him as dedicated, disciplined, and full of life, a gym member for 3 years.
He was very determined to lose his weight. He was very outgoing, happy, jubilant. Because of his occupation, he wanted to be more active, more happy. I never saw him at a dull moment or times of being depressed or unhappy or unstable.
He recalls his last conversation with the victim, whom he referred to as a friend.
We were joking around about his progress. We were joking around about him losing more weight because he wanted to lose some more weight and look more lean and more muscular. And so, you know, summertime coming, so he wants to get that summer body together. So we talked about that.
Police are appealing to anyone with any information on this incident to call the nearest police station. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Leah Cooper.
Meantime, the alarm sounded and action taken to address growing overcrowding at the Bahamas Department of Correctional Services, with officials starting with one particular population. Cleopatra Murphy has the details of a step the Minister of National Security deems a necessary one that could very well prevent even bigger problems at the facility.
As the Bahamas Department of Correctional Services grapples with overcrowding, Minister of National Security the Honorable Wayne Monroe says government has begun deporting non-violent, non-sexual immigrant offenders to their home countries. So far, about 85 prisoners granted the prerogative of mercy have been deported under the understanding they must not return to the Bahamas, among them Haitian, American, and Jamaican nationals.
The reality is if the prison continues to be overcrowded, at some point, somebody is going to bring an action that will cause for less than an orderly reduction in the prison population.
Monroe says the inmates were already set to be released soon, adding that the prison was designed to house 1,200 to 1,300 inmates comfortably, but in recent times hit 1,900.
The Commissioner of Corrections sounded the alarm towards the end of last year, and they then went through their records identifying persons who have nonviolent offenses who are set for release in a short period of time. And then they did the background research. Who are you? What is your record? What is your offending? Having, in many cases, the psychiatrists have a view of them that we have in the prison. And then they presented the file to the prerogative of mercy.
The minister says the releases reflect what parole will look like when the Conditional Release of Offenders Act is introduced, noting that the bill is in the final stage of consultation.
The last information I had from the Attorney General was that there was a sentencing guideline format being finalized, and it was their desire to advance the two together. So when you talk about sentencing guidelines, you also have the same conditional release of offenders.
ZNS News understands that more than 200 inmates were detained at BDOCS between 2025 and 2026. The average cost of feeding an inmate, $17,000 annually. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Cleopatra Murphy.
Still to come, the adverse impact of cybersecurity on businesses. You're watching the Bahamas Tonight at 11. More news in a moment.
Step into a life of luxury and convenience with the Commonwealth Bank Platinum Card. From earning premium cashback rewards on every dollar spent to enjoying comprehensive travel insurance, shop with confidence, knowing your purchases are protected. Our Platinum Concierge service turns your requests into reality, wherever life takes you. Let the Commonwealth Bank Platinum Card be your passport to exceptional experiences. Commonwealth Bank, leader in personal banking services.
Wait, what are you grabbing all these pizzas, boy?
Wait, Marcos, wait. We have a special on all the large one-topping pizzas, wait.
Pineapple.
All.
Barbecue.
All. Hey, VAT included, but
I need the $10 special place.
How many of them would you like?
20 in it. Thank you so much, man. $10, that's it. The Marcos got that deal, boy.
Cybercrimes costing the Caribbean billions yearly in direct losses, operational disruption, and reputational damage. Addressing the Alive Business Cybersecurity Summit at Atlantis this morning, Economic Affairs Minister Senator the Honorable Michael Alquita says across Latin America and the Caribbean, cyber threats are growing in frequency and sophistication. Today, he says cybersecurity is firmly embedded in economic policy and shapes investor confidence, financial system stability, trade facilitation, and impacts the nation's competitiveness. He says sustainable economic growth is reliant on a secure and resilient digital infrastructure, something the Bahamas is consistently working toward.
Ransomware, business email compromise, and financial fraud remain amongst the most prevalent threats affecting enterprises in the region. And in the Bahamas, we know that financial services and tourism are central pillars of our economy, indeed the two main pillars. Both sectors depend heavily on secure digital infrastructure and trusted data environments. Any erosion of confidence in our digital systems has far-reaching economic consequences. Therefore, data integrity and protection are essential elements to ensuring service continuity and economic sustainability.
National Security Minister, the Honorable Wayne Munro, also speaking at that event, says cyber-related threats are considered as serious as drug weapons and human trafficking.
The intent of the Bahamas government, if this administration is returned, and the intent of this minister, if he is returned, that's just some campaigning, eh? Is that the Bahamas Cyber Incident Response Team will be moved to the Ministry of National Security, and the director of the CERT will be involved in a grouping that I have reinvigorated called Honley, the heads of all national law enforcement agencies, because that is the level that we've elevated this area.
On a much lighter note this evening, 20-plus Junkanooers now part of an elite circle following an induction ceremony at Government House. Lloyd Allen reports.
The 2026 Junkanoo Legends induction ceremony taking place on Tuesday at Mount Fitzwilliam. 21 Bahamians are part of that ceremony who today can now brag about their growth in the cultural industry, being Junkanooers and also now legends now and into the future.
Master craftsmen, visionary leaders, and devoted practitioners who have shaped the story of Junkanoo across generations.
Youth Sports and Culture Minister, the Honorable Mario Boleg, welcomed the group into the elite class of Junkanoo legends.
Each of them has demonstrated extraordinary commitment, creativity, and perseverance through long nights in the shack, years of disciplined practice, mentorship, and leadership. They have strengthened and sustained one of our nation's most treasured cultural expressions.
Executives of the National Junkanoo Committee, including Chairman Warren Pinder and Deputy Co-Chair Kishley Smith, highlighted the importance of the recognition.
There were many women that were recognized, which is very important for those that made sacrifices over the years. Another thing that was important for this particular class is that for some time now, it's been an interruption since COVID, and we have tried. There were some persons that were supposed to have been recognized previously that we ensured that took place today.
It's the largest class of family island inductees. We had 2 inductees from the island of Exuma. We had 2 from Grand Bahama. We had 1 from Abaco, and we had 1 from Bimini.
It was a difficult time growing up in the early 70s, and some of the guys who used to paste Junkanoo costumes in that area. They invited me to the shack just to loose with papers, and this is like around 1975. And I was doing Junkanoo ever since.
I count this an honor to be among so many veterans, I call them, and to know that I got a call and asking to be as a junior Junkanoo legend, man, that made my heart feel well, it made me feel good, makes me want to push even more.
I think, I could be wrong, but I think I was the youngest one in the inductees, from looking on stage, but looks could be deceiving.
For the past 16 years, the induction has sought to identify cultural leaders who continue to help to shape the story of Junkanoo. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Lloyd Allen.
Let God Arise, the theme under which members of the Highway Church of God have convened this week for their 61st General Assembly. Organizers say this year's event comes at a time when spiritual grounding is needed more than ever. Here's General Secretary Reverend Dwayne A. Roll on what's behind the theme.
As a society, as a world, as a church, to let God arise in our lives, that we no longer just be representatives of ourselves, but as kingdom citizens, kingdom ambassadors, it is our privilege and it is our obligation and our mandate to have the Spirit of God rise up within us.
Senior Pastor Bishop Denzel Roll adding that the theme carries a message not just for the church, but the nation.
There's a promised land that God has called this country to, a place of holistic living, a place of advancement, a place of innovation, a place of ingenuity that God has ordained for us. But it will only happen if we let God arise. The enemies are not our enemies, they are his enemies. If we let him arise, he'll deal with the enemies of poverty, the enemies of crime, the enemies of inequity, or the enemies of perversion. He says, if you let me arise, I'll take care of your enemies.
Well, I'm John Knowles has a look at what's coming up in sports.
Day 3 of the Hugh Campbell basketball tournament in the books. Details of that story and more coming up in sports.
Throughout our lifetime, we must all make decisions. No matter how we choose, the right one just needs to be made. Like having J.S. Johnson Insurance Agents and Brokers as your insurance partner. We've been serving the Bahamas for over 100 years. Whether you need home, motor, marine, or commercial insurance, make the right decision. Call 397-2100 or visit jsjohnson.com.
JS Johnson Insurance. Peace of mind.
Welcome to your Thursday Sports Check, everyone. I'm Amajal Knowles, topping sports Day 3 of the Hugh Campbell basketball tournament. Storyline in this one, the debut of the Grand Bahamas schools, including the defending Hugh Campbell champs, the Tabernacle Baptist Falcons. To the tape, the open pit, the 8 Mile Rock Blue Jays against the Gateway Academy Eagles out of Bimini. Eagles out in transition. Romarius Stewart with a tough finish here. He had 6 on the night. Eagles playing some smothering defense. They've got to steal Gilbert Roll the third with the easy finish. He had a game-high 13 points. Lukendi Geddes gets the friendly roll on the floater for 2 of his 8. The Eagles, they would take this one 39-33.
Yes, sir. To God be the glory for the victory. First half, we traveled today. A lot of jitters in the first half, a lot of turnovers. Second half, we cleaned it up a little bit. I was able to close out the game in the fourth quarter. Hopefully, we'll be able to play some more clean basketball going forward.
Game 2, the reigning and defending Hugh Campbell champions, the Tabernacle Baptist Falcons, starting their quest for a two-peat, but they certainly would have their hands full with the Telios Cherubim. Tabby working the ball around the perimeter. Travis Kelly with the trifecta. He had 12 points. Kelly on the offensive trying to make a move, but Dion Roll says not so fast. Give me those cookies. Gets the strip and score for 2 of his 10 points. Tabby back on the offensive. Sean Cornell with this pretty no-look dime to Cordero Seymour, who finishes inside for 2 points. Second half, Kayvon Russell walks into this triple, 1 of his 2 on the night. Telios, though, not going down without a fight. Jeff Barr with the floater here. And despite what we've become accustomed to, the bank is definitely open after 7. Russell banks this one in off the glass, and Tabby surviving in a nail-biter 38-37.
We started off rough, but as the game go on, we start to go momentum as a team and we pick it up.
Game 3 and arguably the game of the night, the BAISS runner-ups, the Charles W. Saunders Cougars squaring off with the champions out of Grand Bahama and the St. George's Jaguars. And this one would be worth the price of admission. Jaguars working the ball inside. Mikhail Nesbitt with the hoop and the harm. He had 11 on the night. Cougars on offense working the ball around the perimeter. Breon Portier with the triple and lets the Jags bench hear about it too. Nesbitt again in transition. Pro hop switch to the left for the finish. Cougars now out and running. Daniel Monroe with the tough layup here. He had a game-high 20 points. Jags in transition. Daquan Joseph with the turnaround jumper. He had 7 points. Second half, Cougars on the offensive end. LaQuinn Collins with the finish and 1. He had 9 points on the night. The Cougars would go on an 11-zip run to close the game and send the Jags on the brink of elimination with a 64-55 win. The nightcap would see the Westminster Diplomats take on perennial power out of Grand Bahama, the Sunland Baptist Stingers, and it may perhaps be a Cinderella story brewing. The Diplomats got out to an 18-5 lead after 1 and never looked back. Michael Jean-Pierre with the triple here. He had 15 on the night. Now, the tournament is normally the stage that high school hoopers use to catapult themselves to national prominence. Entering Westminster guard Shaheem Ambrister would be the hot hand all night. asking his defender for a dance here. He would lose the ball before recovering and getting in the lane to finish this tough two. He ended the game with 25 points to lead all scorers. Westminster would beat Sunland 52-30. Night 4 currently underway over at the AF Adderley Gym. Find out who was sent home packing in Friday's Sportscast. In the college basketball news, a couple of weeks after winning a third CUSA Player of the Week award, Payman Breema Collins in the spotlight again, turning in a massive effort and a win for her team over the Sam Houston State Lady Bearcats. She would erupt for a game-high 24 points and add 4 blocks, 3 assists, 2 rebounds, and 2 steals as well. The Panthers escaped with a slim 67-65 win. They'd improved to 15-9 on the season. In volleyball news, University of the Bahamas Mingo's women's volleyball team were looking to end a 2-game losing streak in their MPVA matchup against the Tech Titans. The first set was deadlocked at 9 points apiece. The two sides remained close before UB went to serve and took the score. They would go on to win that set 25-18. UB get up to a quick 9-2 start in the second set to set the tone. That lead jumped to 16-6 after a kill by middle blocker Patrice Ferguson. They kept the lead at 19-9 before closing the set to win it 25-12. UB would go on to win the mats in straight sets to end the 2-match skid.
From the game, we started off slow, but we ended up picking the energy up when we pick our service up. We use a service team, so when we doing our job at the line, it translates in the game and our defense and our covering. We have a lot of good kills, and we also have a lot of good stops with the in defense. Service is really important to the game, especially our game. So when you get them on, and when you can really mess up with the other team, it really does a lot for your team. So I've been making it a lot of conscious effort to serve tough.
It's been a look at your sports on this Thursday. I'm Amajal Knowles, signing out until tomorrow.
Well, it's time now for a weather check with Chief Meteorologist Basil Dean. Basil?
Good evening, Makushla. That high-pressure system remains in control of our weather, but we do have a frontal system on the way that's going to get in here on Saturday night late, and that will bring in some chilly temperatures the early part of next week. Now, your temperatures around the islands, Marshall, Barbacoa at 76, Greenville, Key, 75, Freeport, 75 as well. The Berry Islands, a little warm at 79. Allenstown, Bimini, 74 degrees, 78 in Harbor Island, and Rock Sandy, Lutra, also out of South Island at 78 degrees. Black Point, Exuma, Kemp Space, Orlando, 79. Fresh Creek at 77 degrees, and then we have some 79s in Georgetown, Exuma. Rum Key and San Salvador, 78 degrees, 80 degrees in Ragged Island, Clarencetown, Long Island, Crooked Island, Betsy Bay, Magona, Acklands, and also the Turks and Caicos Islands. Matthewtown, Inagua, 77 degrees. And your forecast for tonight, we are looking at clear and still cool tonight with the low temperature around 69 degrees. And tomorrow, plenty of sunshine, warm temperatures getting up to 81 degrees in your extended weather forecast. Beautiful weather right through the weekend, despite the fact that that frontal system comes through on Sunday night, and that will bring with it some showers during the early morning hours. But once that front goes through, look here, we're going to see some upper 50s here in the capital. Up in the extreme north, those temperatures are going to be in the upper 40s as well. So some chilly temperatures on the way for next week. Krishna?
Well, thanks, Basil. And that does it for the Bahamas tonight at 11. Thank you for continuing to make ZNS your first choice for news and information. Only the sun covers the Bahamas better than ZNS. Thank you for watching, and good night.
At Harold One, I'm Ted Jervis, and this is ZNS.